Welcome back, folks. Today I'm covering one of the best shooters of the 90s, Duke Nukem 3D, one of my all-time favourite games. Joking, I'm actually covering Iron Fury, guys, and this comes as a request from Gib84. I was actually recently streaming Duke Nukem 3D Anniversary Edition only a couple of days ago, and a question came to me: have I played Iron Fury? Yes, I have. I played it, I beat it, and I love it. So the version I'm covering today is a Nintendo Switch version. It came out in 2020 and it also came out on the Xbox One, PS4. It actually originally came out on the PC in 2019, so the console versions followed suit after that. The game is made by Void Point Entertainment and it's published by 3D Realms. So 3D Realms are their initial publisher of Duke Nukem 3D. So really, this is kind of a fundamental throwback to the design aspects of Duke Nukem 3D, and it's built on the same engine that was used to make Duke Nukem 3D Shadow Warrior, which is the build engine. It's fundamentally a showcase for what development teams can do with old engines. Now bear in mind, this does have enhancements. It's actually based off the eDuke port. So eDuke is a source port for Duke Nukem. So it allowed the devs to add a little bit of extra layer of complexity to the map design. So if I wanted to get stuck into the actual game itself, it's fundamentally core design is, it's not a spiritual successor to Duke Nukem 3D, but it definitely takes some influence from that game. And old school shooters are on the way back big time. We've seen the recent successes of Dusk on the PC. That game is on its way to console very soon, as well as the recent game Project Warlock. A good friend of mine, Game Culture, has been covering that game as well. So it's not just a fluke scenario here. There's a big market for this, and a lot of people do want this type of first-person shooter in their collections. I actually own this on 3 different platforms, and I bought the physical version as well, so I'm going to showcase that one eventually. But I originally actually bought this on PC. Obviously, PC controls are king with first-person shooters, but I'm actually playing this with the Nintendo Switch Pro controller on the Nintendo Switch right now. The controls are perfect. So the biggest struggle I imagine for build engine games, how they would translate properly on a console. And to be fair, this translates perfectly. And as I said, the Switch Pro controller in particular, this is the real benefit of buying such a controller. Because, as I said, people primarily play first-person shooters on PC and secondary consoles. That does not impact the gameplay or the quality or your enjoyment here. It runs really, really well. Obviously, you would imagine it should run really well for a build engine game, but bear in mind there's some large-scale complexities added to these maps that you would have never seen in Duke Nukem 3D, for example. So there was a lot of tweaking, I imagine, to do on the engine aspect in order to make sure that it was cleanly compatible with consoles. So they've done a great job here of translating this from PC to console in that case. So obviously I want to try and touch the gameplay aspects really quick. A couple of things to call out here. Brilliant old school map design. It encourages exploration. There's tons and tons of secrets as well, which I love. It's quite lengthy and meaty. It took me 8 hours, my first time, 8 or 9 hours to complete. A solid size for a first person shooter of this design. A second most important thing in a first person shooter of this nature is ensuring you have fun and enjoyable weapons. Obviously you're going to be using them a lot. They have to feel meaty, weighty, and they have to have a fine balance so that you use up all your weapons. And I'm glad to say all the weapons are so much fun to use. A note on the enemy design as well, there's some decent variation. Could have been a little bit more, in all fairness, if I was to critique it a bit. If I do always use the comparison for Duke Nukem 3D, I think the variation in enemies is a little bit better, but overall it's quite decent. So I mean guys, yeah, this game is really worth your time. If you've missed out on it previously, I definitely plan on streaming this for folks that want to watch that stream. That's it for me for another video, guys. If you like what you see, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.